Do Africans know their true history as told by either Africans or the whites? Is going to be the focus for our tonight edition of the program. We are, however, going to be starting with the regional elections campaigns that are on across all 10 regions of the country. We look at whether more powers are going to be given to local collectivities after these elections. Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to be discussing on these two topics this day with Dr. Michael Ndimancho, who is in the studio with us. Good evening, Doctor, and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here and to permit me send special greetings to one of your most fervent viewers in Kumba, Paul Ngong, and greetings to all the Kumba people.
Okay, we also are in the company of Fabrice Lena, who is the Secretary General of the PAP party. Good evening. We are happy to have you.
Good evening, Solio. Good evening to Cameroonians. Good evening to militants of the Popular Action Party. Special good evening to Do Raymond, who has been very supportive to us lately. And good evening to all our viewers in the Northwest and Southwest especially. Once more, it's a pleasure for me to be part of this very wonderful program this evening.
Okay, we also are in the company of Andrin Atemibako, who is a Pan-Africanist. Good evening and welcome, Andrin.
Good evening, Mr. Liu, and all the panelists in the house tonight, and good evening, Cameroonians, and especially those of the Northwest and the Southwest. Thank you very much.
Well, I will start by asking the question on your assessment on the campaigns that are going on right now.
I think it is a little bit timid. It's quite timid and understandable so. You know that election used to go with a lot of pomp and fanfare, a lot of mobilization, because according to election set up, there is need to be able to win the souls of all the electorates and for people to come up massively and vote. But this time around is an issue that concerns the councillors, and we are weeping because in the Northwest and Southwest, you find that people are making elections through social media because they cannot touch base in their individual division and subdivisions to be able to do campaigns. And you see that it is possibly going to work well for the ruling CPDM, of course, which is already having more than 75% win of the election, and which, of course, because of what they call in particular jargon, authoritarian electoral authoritarianism, whereby you know about consensus in their choosing of candidates. There's going to be very little dispute, because what happened is that with them, the central committee actually decides on who goes in for a particular post and for which particular electoral district. And therefore, and that is why you often hear after elections, instead of people, they voted, thanking the electorates for voting them, they rather thank their chairman or the president of the party. It is an irony. So, but I mean, in a nutshell, we think that the election is going very timidly amidst the insecurity, not only in the Northwest and Southwest region, but also, you know, of the Boko Haram issue in the north and all what is happening in Cameroon. Many people are much more preoccupied by their day-to-day life and what the tomorrow is going to hold for them. So we think that the pomp and fanfare that usually goes with the election is missing this time around, and we just feel that when there is not much that hysteria that goes with it, people begin to miss the point. Because if you ask many Cameroonians whether on the seats something is going to happen, I'm sure that many of them will express ignorance, and it is reasonable, it's true, because it touches them in not a very big way, and they think that it is they should be preoccupied more about their day-to-day lives rather than the election that doesn't touch them much. And well, and this is supposed to be something that is a landmark in Cameroon, given that it's one of the fallouts of decentralization. And it is supposed to actually impact the people in the local communities. But unfortunately, because of that disillusionment, you know, the hopelessness that people have had with the system, you know, when we talked about the biometric election that in 2013, people thought that election in Cameroon was going to be something that one is going to take into account. But the biometric election has only come to be an image of itself, and that is why we are talking about this fallout of decentralization, which is the regional elections. People are still hopeless, as many other things that have gone past, and they are promised, and they have always been a mirage, illusions, and people think that this time around it will happen like in the past. They will keep on waiting for Godot.
Okay, Secretary General of PAP, do you think that people are looking forward with a lot of enthusiasm regarding the elections? Do they hope that something definitely is going to come out positive out of it?
Well, I would say that the only people that are looking with a lot of enthusiasm to the upcoming elections are the CPDM councillors and the big wigs of the CPDM that are benefiting from these elections and from the government, who definitely are the people to be elected into the various positions for the upcoming elections. I don't think the common man, the people who are supposed to be touched, the people who these elections are organized for, are going to have any positive impact so far. The simple fact is that we can see in the northwest southwest region in the southern Cameroons that the elections are basically for the ruling party, and we all know that the ruling party does not have any ground again. It does not represent the aspiration of the people of northwest and southwest. So in that note, you don't expect that the people, that's the population of this region, should be enthusiastic or should be hoping or waiting for something from these elections. You can see also that the government is operating in a very clandestine manner with these elections. When I mean by clandestine manner, I mean that you see most of the councillors of the regions of northwest and southwest are not presented to the people. The list is not clear to the people, and most of the people are doing campaign from distance in social media.
What do you mean by the list is not clear? Elecam published this list, and some persons even they resisted and petitioned some of the lists that went to the courts, and some were rejected, and some rejected lists are reinstated. Everybody knows those who are taking part.
Those who gave their list of candidates, which is the CPDM party, not everybody, because I don't know. So what I'm trying to say here is that the elections cannot actually give what the people want, especially in the southern Cameroons, because the people are no more looking at elections to be the solution of their problem. The national dialogue was supposed to bring something as election to solve problem at this moment. The election should have, first of all, give as condition participation, effective participation of all parties involved. And the party, it should be the moderates who are in this region that at least have a certain voice that could reflect the aspiration of the people. But when you see that, on the contrary, the only party which is from this place that was participating in election, like the SDF, that is withdrawing, it tells you that every election that is organized in the northwest and southwest for the moment does not actually reflect the aspiration of people there again. And the state is functioning actually like an annexer, like a people who are imposing, people who are putting their will on some people who does not actually want that to happen there.
Yes, that is for the case of the northwest and southwest regions. But you are in Douala as we speak. You also are usually in Yaoundé. Do you, across the nation, do people really?
There is low spirit for these elections, because the purpose of these elections, I think, is for effective decentralization and giving of powers to local authorities. But we are not actually seeing people welcoming the idea of the election as it is going to effectively give power to the people, because up to this moment, we are still seeing hyper concentration of power in the hands of one man who is in A2G, who still rules by decree, who still rules by command, by nomination. So if the effective decentralization were something that Cameroonians should take serious, or is going to be effective after these elections, we should have already been seeing some sort of its manifestation at this level, where they are preaching the decentralization, but they are not practicing it. So throughout the national territory, out of the southern Cameroons, we can see that the election is not actually moving people. The campaign is not that having the weight as the previous elections, even though this is of a different category. And I must also reiterate here that these local elections are not of the French system. They are not common of the French system. So to most of the people, they first of all need education, sensitization, serious mobilization on what regional and representative elections is all about. This is something that is more of the English and Anglo-Saxon system. So you see that the people of east of the Mongo, they are just saying that, okay, let's also benefit from what the other people are supposed to benefit, because this is one of the aspects of what they call special status to the southern Cameroonians. But you see, it's being implemented nationwide, which means that the special status is actually for everyone and nothing special to the southern Cameroonians. And all the political parties that are from southern Cameroon, which are opposition to the government, right up to the only party that was participating, SDF, is no more participating.
Yeah.
Concluding, I would say that the election is simply accompanying CBDM to finish their mandate.
Okay. Now, is the issue if persons are not really enthusiastic towards this election handling at Temibako? Isn't it also because they are not grounded, knowledgeable enough as to what is going to come out of the elections? That is the Ministry of Decentralization. Before now, was supposed to have educated the people better to know that, strictly speaking, this is what is going to accompany the putting in place of regional councils.
Mr. Liu, to start with, I think that it's, in generally speaking, it's a good initiative. But looking at the context and the condition and the circumstances which we are all surrounded, it is like doing the right thing at the wrong time. And absolutely, and also doing something right and then using the wrong organs. Because you look at the individuals that are representing or are going in for this election, you realize these are the same individuals who the individuals that have problem with their people from where they come from. So there's already a disagreement there, and these are the same people who came up from the Grand National Dialogue, and these are the same individuals that proposed to the head of state that regional autonomy or decentralization is going to restore back peace in the restive regions. So this is the initiative that came from some of the elites in the northwest and the southwest, that this could be a solution. But Mr. Liu, you see, like the way I look at it, it is true that it may give the opportunity to so many persons to have a power to run over their natural resources in their fatherland, will give them the right to have right to self-determination at a certain extent. But you look at the facts of it is that we are not having here of because the regional election has to do with building some kind of acceleration for decentralization, whereby at the end of it some level of special status might come. But the problem here is that what we are going through down there is not an issue of economic problem, because we are the way the head of state was looking at it is that these organs are going to help to accelerate the decentralization, whereby it will carry the country economically to meet the emergence in 2035. But that is not a problem we have in Cameroon. The problem we have in Cameroon or in those two regions is not an economic problem. It's a political problem, and also it's a religious problem to a certain extent. So I don't think that this is the right approach that is going to absolutely bring peace, because you look at the individuals that are concerned in this election, you judge the competency. The competency is not there. These are the same people who have turned against the population, and these are the same people that the population does not want them. So if you are making putting up a campaign for regional elections where there will be councillors, the councillors are going to represent who? They are going to represent their divisions or their regions or their areas of operation. But the people who reside there don't want these people, have a disagreement with these people, and that is where I look at competency is very, very important here, because if you are using the organs, the very organs that the people are against, it means that you are not absolutely solving the problem the way we should be able to solve the problem. The problem, the way I look at it, Mr. Leo, it should be at a point where, because you go critically looking at what the people of the Northwest and Southwest were crying for. They were looking for having that power to make their own decision, having that political autonomy, whereby they can manage their own affairs to a certain extent, whereby being with the French Cameroon, they can really know that, okay, we are living together.
Yeah, but regional elections are holding across all 10 regions. Regional councils are going to be established across all the regions.
I am talking about the competency of the people who are going in for.
Those who are going to man the regional councils.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. These are the same actors we saw them in the Grand National Dialogue. This is just a whole concept that was introduced to the head of state that might bring a solution to those two regions, particularly, and then emerge the country.
No, but decentralization has been there since 1996.
Yes, but it has not been enforced. It has been there by law in paperwork, but it has not been enforced. So now we are moving towards the operations of it, and that is why I'm saying that the actors that are being used, that is where the problem is. That is where the problem is, and that is why you realize that effective campaigns and how will I put it, elections cannot go on there. You have people doing campaigns on Facebook, because you cannot go down there and do it, because the ground, the terrain is not conducive for those kind of things to happen. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, Mr. Leo. You are doing the right thing, which is really good. Had this thing been done years ago, we will not be where we are today. So you are doing the wrong thing. You're doing the right thing at the wrong time and using the wrong people to do something which is right.
Now, do you think that with the coming of the regional councils, there is going to be the checking of administrative excesses and the manner in which developmental projects are being realized in the regions? Are we going to see some sort of a power check within the regions to fight in the general interest of the population living within all these regions?
I think it is supposed to be, by the mere fact of the law governing that it is supposed to be. Because we realize that with the regional elections, if it is not just a mirage, as I say, if it's actually something that is going to be incarnated, as we read from papers and books, I think that this is something that is supposed to transfer some powers from the central government to the regions, and from the regions to the divisions, and from the divisions to the subdivisions. Of course, it means now that the administration is closer to the people, and by that fact, we understand that if something is to be done in a small village, you don't need to go to Yaoundé to be able to lobby for funds or to apply for this or that. You just need to meet your councillor who is there and who knows the reality on ground. And secondly, you will not need to ask for schools or a school to be constructed in a particular village if it is not actually the need for that school to be constructed in that particular place and at that particular time. You know, there is something that happened in the north one time, where the government decided one time to build boreholes in the north. And you know, by the mere fact in the north, carrying water,
or they go into election, they have different intentions. They have the genuine intentions of trying to change things, genuine intention of trying to carry out reforms, of trying to do things normally and right in the right track. But when they get into these offices, certain constraints, certain instructions coming from some people who wield a lot of power, who want to tell you that, remember, we brought you here, remember, I'm the one who made you to be this person, remember, I have the ability to. And this issue of connection in Cameroon has come to spoil everything, and it's even influencing elections.
Are you not talking about investiture? The fact that it is the party that invested the candidates, for example, CPDM, means that someone who played in your favor in Yaoundé may have to influence what you have to do in the regions?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. And that has been very recurrent in the CPDM in particular. Because CPDM is, their mode of functioning is a system where you get in through someone and you play to the tune, whims and caprices of that person. And it becomes very difficult for someone to maintain his credibility, his ability to control without constraint in that kind of system, in that kind of party, in this kind of pattern where you are being guided, you are being teleguided, you are being put somewhere to act according to how the system function, not according to how you are voted to function. So this imbalance in way of managing administration at the level of the party that is predominant in the is ruling now is a setback for any election that will be organized once this party is still in power. A serious setback, because even as an opposition that does not have that force of competing with resources, force of competing nationwide, because we do not have the arms that the government have, it will become a matter of political negotiation, where if you want to go in with the ruling party, they will tell you, okay, we are going to give you the favor of handling some areas, but remember, you have to go within the rules of the CBDM. And this has been the case of opposition since the birth of multipartyism in Cameroon in the 1990s. That is why Cameroon has not experienced any true change or true democracy. Because true democracy is the ability of a voted leader to oppose the decision of a hierarchy that is not reflecting the aspiration of the people that voted that person into that office. And this is not happening in Cameroon. On the contrary, people that have voted tend to be implementing decision of bosses or some sort of hierarchies, which is instead contrary to what the people who voted you want. And this dichotomy of way of functioning is more of the French system than the Anglo-Saxon system. And then you see that if the regional elections that is coming on the 6th of December was to solve Anglophone problem, the preoccupation of those who participated in this national dialogue, or even the government in place, should be that this election should be able to satisfy these people by, first of all, carrying out opinion polls, sampling the opinion of people from this area, looking at the nature and the kind of candidates that are standing for this election. Are these the people's choice of candidates? Will these people be able to preach peace? Can those people who are angry against the government listen to these people? When you don't ask this type of basic questions and you just take people and recycle them like you recycle waste, we are moving around the same cycle and not doing anything and moving towards doom. And this is our preoccupation. That's why we at the level of the Popular Action Party prefer to stay back and console or be with our people than to go and participate in elections that you will be voted a representative and will not be able to actually represent your people. We prefer to participate when elections are on a fair terrain, on where the rules of elections are guaranteed by an independent electoral body that actually puts in place the conditions for free and fair election. And we don't think that is possible with the present regime.
Okay, you think it's not possible with the present regime. Now, there's going to be coming the coming into force of the House of Chiefs for the Southwest and Northwest regions, but traditional rulers are also going to be part of this whole setup in the other 8 regions. You think that they are going to shift the balance also and put more weight for things to be done in favor of the common man?
That has always been the greatest challenge, because here we are talking on how power can be shared. Decentralization, how decentralized is the power from the government to the regions to the divisions and the subdivisions. How much power is being decentralized? That is not being cleared. We don't still know the power that we are still talking of that is going to be decentralized, because at the end of the day, the individuals who are behind these regional elections and all what we are seeing are the same people who are only fighting for power and are only there for the interest that serves the minority and not the majority. So if we keep using these same individuals, we are not absolutely making the kind of changes that we deserve, that is going to benefit the common man, like you rightly said. We talk about the House of Chiefs. Coming again back to the aspect of the decentralization, the regional elections. The idea of this regional election is almost like, I call it the regional autonomy, where all the regions got autonomy to manage their own affairs. But the question at the end of the day is how much power are they able to manage? Because if you are talking here of a decentralized system, we understand that the system is not in the hands of the Cameroonians themselves. This is a colonial a type of system. So how much power is being decentralized? In the elites of the Southwest, they have always fought for regional autonomy. Why? Because they feel that they are the minority. When you look at the Northwest, that makes the majority in those two regions. So the Southwesterners have always fought for regional autonomy, whereby they can manage their own region. But the question here is that the actors that are acting in these electoral processes are the same people that the government is going to use to still keep the interest of the government there. So it only sounds as if they are being employed by the government to carry out specific activities. So at the end of the day, we want to see how this power, this decentralized power, is going to elevate the common man that has been complaining, because at the end of the day, that is what should happen in a nation, whereby everybody in the nation is able to take part in that national cake. But it's because of greed and selfishness of a particular individual who feels that all belongs to them. I don't understand, Mr. Leo, how a man can amass wealth for his generation to come in the next 100 years. It doesn't make any sense when the people who are living in abject poverty. When you have too much that you don't even need, that's another definition of poverty. So what we are saying here is to see how the people who don't have, who deserve, who belong to this society, who belong to this nation, and who are able to also take part in that a process of how will I put it, emergence. How do they get participate in all of this? So Mr. Leo, it comes back to say that the people who initiated the Grand National Dialogue initiated it only because they had a particular interest which is going to serve them and not serve the masses. And this regional election came as a fallout of that the Grand National Dialogue, whereby the head of state in this 2020 September 7 made this degree of the regional elections which are going to come up. But who are the actors that are going to take part? These are the same individuals who went there, instead of speaking the truth, instead of absolutely defending the rights of those who cannot speak, are only there to stand for their own interests. So Mr. Leo, the way I see it, including to the House of Chiefs, all of this is all assimilation. They are all being assimilated to the one big boss, the one big largest employer, which is the government. So it's not going to absolutely favor the people, and that is where the main challenge is, Mr. Leo. If these regional elections came up, for example, with very genuine intentions to see what the people on ground think about, what is the position of the people on ground, what would they want, and not what the elites and what the chiefs and what the elders in those areas want, because at the end of the day, every man is fighting for his own head and not fighting for the head of the people. If these people are elected tomorrow, Mr. Leo, the same thing the government has been doing to the population of this country, these same people will also do the same to their people, because how much power is going to be decentralized back to the common man? Because that is what we are talking. How can we emerge the private sector? That is what we are talking. How can the government give an environment so that the private sector can emerge? Because when you are talking about the 2035 emergence, the private sector has to be the leading largest employer in Cameroon and not the government. So we have to really be clear when we are trying to put down some solutions, and that is why I'm saying that the regional elections, whereby the regions are going to have some degree of power to manage their own affairs, is an excellent idea if it came at the right time. But at what it is, as we stand right now, it's a good thing at the wrong time and using the wrong people. So that is what I will still say, Mr. Liu.
Good evening, Leonard. The elections ought to have been organized in other regions and leave out the Southwest and Northwest for things to calm down before any elections. This one is coming like last legislative elections to show that we are in a one-party system where Where is the special status? Tebek Ignatius is writing, this is a concern that also is also shared by many Cameroonians, but we are talking about special status. The special status, is it not coming through the putting in place of regional councils in these two regions?
Well, it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be, but I doubt how particularly that special status is only to the Northwest and the Southwest, given that this is a national affair. But then, I would have rather advised that these elections don't take place in the Northwest and Southwest region. But then, politically, some people hijacked it to say that Northwest and Southwest have separated. That is also another way of looking at it. I'm saying this because when elections will take place on Saturday, we are going to start implementing this decentralization law and whatnot. Meaning that what? The councillors, the regional councillors, and also they are supposed to start working. Money is supposed to start flowing into the community. And people are supposed to start using this money for community development. But I'm looking at, since 2016, with a public investment budget that is supposed to be injected into the development, local development in the Northwest and Southwest region, this budget has not been used even up to 40%. Meaning that what? Year in, year out since 2016, we have been voting the budget, the public investment budget, to take care of developmental projects in the Northwest and Southwest region, and nothing has been happening. It means that if this war is not over, the regional elections will not have any holding as far as the Northwest and the Southwest is concerned. It therefore implies that any money, any transfer of administration, which of course goes with the economy, transfer of budget to the local council, is going to remain stagnant, and therefore will serve no purpose. And that is why we are calling that for this to happen, there needs to be peace. The war needs to stop. Something needs to be done before this is actually done. That's why I earlier said, the reality of 1996 is not the reality of today. It is quite different in 2020. In 2020, we have gone deep into other issues that have perturbed, that have disturbed, that are an adversity to our advancement in both economically and humanly. So, and therefore we need to strategize. We need to look and see exactly what is good for us. Now they are singing the song about the issue of the chiefs, and now it is like it's going to be applied nationwide, and they think that it is a dash that they are giving to the Northwest and Southwest. What rules concerning the chiefs today in the Northwest and Southwest is not the 1961 federation stuff that we had. In 1961, the chiefs, they actually wield a lot of power. And that is why I think that many people still think that this House of Chiefs that we had during the Federation can still be something that will hold today. It can never be again. Because during those years, the chiefs wielded a lot of powers and people respected the chiefs. And one of the issues why there was this House of Chiefs, because it was an Anglo-Saxon issue, is because the British, they ruled the British Southern Cameroon through the chiefs. And therefore, the chiefs knew administration. And that is why they had to have the House of Chiefs. In that case now, they were able to help the administration, to able to penetrate the people, to help the people pay the taxes. The people respected the chiefs because the chiefs were trained by the British in administration. And when we come today in 2020, where the chiefs have lost all the kind of respect that we were supposed to, you find chiefs being kidnapped, you find chiefs that are being insulted, you find chiefs that are getting into politics and messing themselves and having blood in their hands, who are no more respected, and then we'll come and talk again about the House of Chiefs. I think it's a joke. Let us be careful, and that's why I talked about strategizing and looking forward and seeing exactly what we want for the people. What is this election? What is it? What is the fallout as far as the common man is concerned? Is this election going to be something? Is it? Or is it just a political distraction? That because people have asked for something, they want to distract them. I think the government should not keep on making the same mistake every time. It is like an examinee who goes to an exam and sets a question and answers the question itself. And this started with what we call the national dialogue. We asked for something. For real dialogue, the government went and actually organized its own. I don't know. Dialogue that had no sense. Dialogue that was just between them. They could sit in your own and discuss. Why did they call it a national dialogue? So I think that, and then secondly, now they're coming to the issue of regional elections, and then we want to think that it is something that is going to be in concordance with what we call decentralization. I think that we should think, well, we are spending the Cameroonian money, and people are dying, people are suffering. There is something that we can do that can save the situation.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. The regional elections in Cameroon is a disgrace to the Northwest and Southwest because upon the work that you, Prime R, has been doing there, there's no better answer to special status as a definition. Nassau Collins is writing from Tomber. Good evening to you, Collins. Pour ma participation à ce débat dont le titre porte sur More Powers Soon to Local Collectivities, il n'y aura jamais de transfert des pouvoirs à ces collectivités. C'est du saupoudrage. Richard Yondo, don't know where you're writing from, Richard. Good evening to you. This one says, Mr. Liu, I don't think so. Okay. Many persons don't believe. This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu, our cool panelists in the panel, Chin, Clinton, Ekanya Beruni, writing from Douala. If the government of Cameroon could campaign and stop war in our country, than elections for positions, okay? When you look at the persons, though you claim that you don't know them, but Eleka made them very public already. We know them, you know them. Do they inspire hope that these persons can put pressure on the government to fix things in their respective regions? Say the guys that are going to man the regional council in littoral region. You think that they can actually get on the governor to turn things around, get on SDOs, equally mount pressure on Yaoundé?
Mr. Liu, I don't know if it is Chief Mafani J of Southwest or Anglophone son of Northwest, who are friends. They are not only CBDM but friends of Mr. Paul Biya that are going to mount pressure for things to change at this level where it is. They should have mounted the pressure as far back as 2016.
Maybe at the regional level.
Or 18. I'm coming because you see, you said I know the people, but I don't know them.
You just name them now.
I just know very few of them, and the few that I know do not even reflect 1/4 of the voice of the people of Southern Cameroon. One thing that is happening in this country now is that once you identify yourself as a militant of the CPDM, you are an enemy to people who have been wishing for change in Cameroon. And this change is not just at the local level. It's not just at the level of the village administrators. It's not just at the level of the regional administrators. It is at the level of national government. The three arms of the government in Cameroon is not working. The three arms, the executive, legislative, judiciary, is not working. And we cannot even differentiate who the arms of government, their role, and how they are influencing the governance in the country to benefit Cameroonian people, given that they are functioning with taxpayers' income, given that they are supposed to at the end of the year sit in the parliament and tell us how they are running the government. On the contrary, they have their own agenda. On the contrary, they impose agenda on the citizens. On the contrary, they come out with their own projects. Mr. Liu, you will not tell me that if the different people nominated in whether it's GDR commission, bilingualism commission, presidential reconstruction plan, if all these people who are Anglophones have been unable to put pressure on the very government or even convince the government to have sincere discussion with people who are angry with the government, it is not regional councillors or House of Chiefs that is going to do that. Like my brother said, the chiefs of Cameroon, as in this year that we are, have lost so much credibility in front of their subjects, to the extent that chiefs have become a laughing stock because of certain vices that they have decided to pursue, instead of those values, virtues that we knew chiefs of in those days. So how would these people first of all stand? Because in negotiation, in mediation, before I come to you, Mr. Leo, to tell you that please give a listening ear to this person, you must first of all assess my own credibility. You must go back and look at my profile. Who is Fabrice Lena? What have I done so far? What are people saying about me? Who can trust me? How many people trust me? Those are the things that people will ask, or you will ask, before confiding in me or referring somebody to me. You will not tell me that people who have decided that let us use the chaotic situation to put some income in our pocket, let us use this situation to wield power, let us use this situation to also govern. Because the crisis in this country has overgiven unmerited positions to so many people, where if we were in a situation of justice, if we were in a situation of truth, many of such people will not find themselves in this situation. Okay. And even in the elections that are coming. So my tranquility is so disturbed when I see this kind of situation of injustice in the society where I am also interested to change the dynamics and lead. And it is for this reason that I come here to cry foul and say that those who are responsible for the negative impact they are enabling into our society, especially in the southern Cameroon, should please listen to their consciences, because someday you will not be before man, you will answer alone, and that day is not far. We pray that they hear our cry. Okay.
We're so negative about this because of the failures of other institutions that came out of the 1996 Constitution. We have the putting in place of the Senate, and seemingly nothing has changed. We have the putting in place of the Constitutional Council, which has done also not much. Is it the failure of these institutions that also giving the impression that the regional councils may not do much?
Well, I think those are very good indicators, because when you keep creating avenues for people to embezzle money through development or through in the name of establishing peace or resolving conflicts in the country, or trying to emerge the country to gear towards the 2035, you are only plunging the country more into hardship and economic crisis and more conflicts, because you keep doing the same thing in different manners and you are expecting to get a different result, which is still impossible. You see, you going back to the House of Chiefs, that was the House of Chiefs was being created in the post-colonial period, which was it was a legislative or indirect rule where the colonial masters assembled the chiefs to absolutely get hold of the people. And that's why I kept talking about the population controllers. When you enter into a land, you look, if the first thing you need to look for is the people who are controlling or who have influence over people. And that is how the House of Chiefs was being created, so that the colonial masters will have hold over the people. And if they have hold over the chiefs or the people, they have hold over the land, because they could not go into the hinterlands. So they knew that in getting all these chiefs to their side and working with them, that automatically means that the people are in their basket. And this is the same strategy that the government is going to use. But what I want to say here is that the chiefs that we used to know even before the post-colonial period, these people were most respected than even presidents, because I still say that the chiefs are the custodian and the embodiment of the identity and culture of a people. So it is a most sacred thing, whereby when a chief leaves that place and begins to assimilate himself into a system which is killing that culture. Today, many of our villages today have become city, where the people's culture and values is being swept away, because the chiefs are now become how will I put it, modernized. They are all now globalized, and the tradition and the custom of the people in which they were called by the gods and the people of that tribe, they have not been playing that role. And this is where this main problem is, because you look at the same strategy the government is using, is only using the people in code that he feels have control and influence and control the population. And that is why at the moment at which it stands right now, the regional election is not going to be effective like all the other ones, because the leaders or the population controllers at that time have lost their popularity. At the beginning of this conflict, when the chiefs were still in their palaces, when they were still in their villages, when they still had right over their people, they still had that respect. When that crisis began, the government did not give them also the right to have resolved the problem when it was at their level. When it went out of their level, the government now called them to resolve the problem. I will still remember very well when the Fcfa Mukete invited all the funds of the Northwest and Southwest to meet at his palace, and then called the governor of the Southwest to send eyes to take part in that meeting. The governor refused, and Fcfa Mukete insulted him and told him that it is people like you that are causing this country to be in problem, because he wanted to call all the chiefs and then invite the eyes of the government to see how the funds and the chiefs and the elites were going to put as a solution what they can bring to solve this problem, because at that time they still had hold over the masses, they still had hold over their population. But when their population went out of control, because the chiefs at that period also could not stand up and at the same time tell the government that if you don't do this, we are not going to stand with you, we are going to stand with our people. So when they took the side of the government, their population went against them. And that's what I'm trying to say, that they are leaving the area of their calling, because they are not appointed by the people, they are being called by the gods of that village. And that is why each chief is being inducted by a high priest. So it is more of a spiritual thing than a political thing. So once this chief begin to leave that place of operation, even the gods of the land will go against them. And that is why you realize that children are killing chiefs. Chiefs are running away. They have no respect anymore, because even the gods of the land have turned against them, because they were supposed to be keeping that culture, that identity, so that after 150 years, when you look at Cameroon, you look at Kumba, you look at Bamenda, you look at Northwest, look at Southwest, look at the North, you look at the East, and all the other 10 regions in Cameroon, you could still see how Cameroon, in terms of culture and the people's identity and value, how life used to be 100 years ago. And that is what we want to pass from our generation to our generation, because at the end of the day, that is what makes us Africans. It's not our skin color, it is the embodiment of who we are. And these custodians that we call them chiefs are not supposed to be used as auxiliaries by the government to achieve their aim and begin to enslave the people using these individuals. And that is why you realize that the people that are going into this electoral processes are the same individuals that we know that the population does not want them. It's a clear example would be like what you see in Mali, that ousted Keita. He was in power. How did he enter in power? The population said, we don't want you. Ouattara, the population said, we don't want you, but yet they still stay in power. So as long as we're still having this kind of system, Mr. Leo, elections is not always the best thing, because election has not always worked for the people, because you can always manipulate the people because of poverty. Yeah, I want to get your reactions. I've been struggling to get the English version of this Article 58 of the law. It says that dans la région, un délégué nommé par le président de la République représente l'État. À ce titre, that is, the president of the Republic is going to appoint somebody which is going to represent the state. And then Article 59 says le conseil régional peut être suspendu par le président de la République lorsque le dit organe accomplit des actes contraires à la Constitution, porte atteinte à la sécurité de l'État, à l'ordre ou à l'ordre public, met en péril l'intégrité du territoire. Okay, the government is going to assign somebody to work in the regions representing but we already have the governor now, but there's also the possibility for the President of the Republic to suspend the regional councils. Now, you see what I said earlier, that it is new dress, old dance.
Yeah, because it is just a redressing of what we are having actually presently. Or is the President of the Republic creating a room for conflict between delegate and the region and the governor?
Or the President of the Regional Council?
The President of the Regional Council. So it is quite a disturbing issue that we are going to get into. And I think that they should actually define exactly what is going to happen. And that is why you cannot give me a goat and you remain holding the rope. It means you are not giving me the goat. So if they think that the President of Regional Council is supposed to be the big boss of the region, then let them give him the powers. Now I'm waiting to see when actually will come into effect, when there is an official ceremony and the protocol is supposed to be respected. Who is supposed to actually stand as the big boss of the region? Is it the governor or the President of Regional Council? So we are asking a lot of questions, and that is why you find that Cameroonians are getting much more disinterested with this thing, because they are twisting us with this issue. Just because you want to force in an agenda, they want to force in to solve a problem using a different method to solve a problem, an existing problem. And I mean, I think we should be very, very serious about this. It is a disturbing fact.
Just to do that, le président de la République le président et le bureau du conseil régional peuvent être suspendus par le président de la République if they do the same thing like listed above, and that the president can still be suspended also by the President of the Republic under certain conditions. But yes, but this whole issue of party discipline, do you think it's also going to influence the way the regional councils would function? Yeah. They would rather function in favor of what the party wants?
Yeah, before going to that, I wanted to make a comment on what you just read. You see, when you listen to that line carefully, you come to understand that the president still reserves much of the power to decide on how the regional councillors or the president of the regional council is going to function based on his agenda. Because the ability of the president to suspend the regional council or to suspend the president is just the use of dispensing and suspending power, which is still very authoritarian. It's just like giving somebody the ability to manage a place and then controlling the person, and this is exactly our system. And that is what I've been explaining. That is like inducing somebody who is well brought up, who is well mannered and well cultured, and does not have the ability to steal, to start stealing. That is just the way they want everybody to function. And for you not to become like that, you abstain and become an enemy, or you become the radical and they pursue you. That is exactly the way they are put. So coming back to your question, the issue of party discipline, like I said before, is a very common phenomenon with the CPDM party, and I think that since about 75% in nationwide of the councillors are going to be CPDM, their modus operandi will still be the same. And for the southern Cameroon, where they want to force their agenda, the 90 councillors of the two regions are all going to be CPDM, because no party from this region, which is opposition, is going to stand. So automatically, everything is going to be CPDM. And we will see that it is further disintegrating the people. It's further disintegrating the people. When you go to this region nowadays, you see a clear discrepancy, a very big gap between government, administrators, and the population. And everything that is being carried out, like government projects, like social activities, like even cultural activities, is in the form of like government officials using money to buy people. So when government officials begin to use money to buy people for things that they are supposed to just call and the people come, the government is functioning in a clandestine manner, because their popularity is zero, their credibility is on question mark, and the population is so skeptical about anything coming from them. So you see the extent to which the party in place has distanced itself from the people. And when you go to the CPDM party, or you see the manner in which most members of the CPDM party function, you begin to ask yourself, if a hierarchy takes you into the party, it's like you owe the hierarchy in one way or the other. And this way is so difficult for you to implement whatsoever thing you have in heart.
Okay, good evening. The same CPDM militants who were against the peaceful protests from the very beginning, rejecting the point of marginalization, talking against federalists and secessionists, are the ones shamelessly going in for regional elections. The Anglophone crisis invited the regional elections. This is a perfect example of monkey walk, baboon chop. Jones is writing from Bafusam. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm very disappointed with the government. Can't feed my family these days. Sapa is writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Liu. This election is going to be the last stage of assimilation of Anglophones, because after these elections, our chiefs will be elected by the government. Amos, writing from Limbe. I don't know where that one is right. It's written, Amos. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Elvis from Kumba. The government is just playing over intelligence. We don't need House of Chiefs. If so-called decentralization, that's another way of bringing back the position of government delegates in the northwest and southwest regions. But we have the city mayors now. Good evening to you in the studio. How do chiefs from divisions like Manu in the southwest region, who spend their whole time in Yaoundé, represent their population when they barely know their problems? Cameroon is a ping-pong country. Terence is writing from Muteng. Good evening. Sir, I'm Milton from Bamenda. Now in Bamenda, if you don't know French, then you are in trouble with the military. When you don't dress well, then they assume you are an Anglophone separatist, and when you look good, you are still in trouble because they will take you as a Yahoo boy. And all these things are happening simply because of the Anglophone crisis. Okay, Asha, for you guys. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Lontum from Kumbo. I love your program. The government has failed the people west of West Cameroon to not complete the House of Chiefs. Okay. Mr. Leo, good evening. These elections will bring no change in Cameroon, and particularly Anglophones Cameroon. Okay, the CPDM party and its government think they are wise. Some of us are more wise. Nicodemus is writing from Boya. It is because of lies, stealing, unfairly trained men of Anglophones, all development only in East Cameroon, closure of industries in Southern Cameroon. Okay. Ndo is writing from Bamenda. But whatever we see, elections are going to hold. What should be done to get the best out of the elections that will definitely hold on the 6th of December?
Well, what should be done that can be can give a balance to what is going on? I think that we need honest people of great competency, integrity, and dignity, people who can hold up to their values and not compromise their position because of poverty and power monger and the quest and greed for for self-aggrandizement. So if they can absolutely engage the how will I call it, the sector that is being disturbed, the separatist fighters, because at the end of the day, these are the individuals that are keeping those two regions for what it is today, and we cannot ignore their presence. The question here is, how do we integrate them in all of what we are talking about? When this crisis was going on, my main concern when the government was talking about neutralizing the separatist fighters, the question here is, what do we do when we want to advance and accelerate decentralization and emerge the country in 2035? How do we get these individuals who are mad with the state, these individuals who are not working with the state and who feel that they should have a different state? The question here is, how all these stakeholders, these chiefs, the 200 chiefs that are going in, the 700 councillors in all the division, and the 900 councillors in all the regions. So how do we get these individuals that seem to be now the bone that has stuck in our neck, how do we get them along? Because whatever we are doing here and putting them aside is not going to create any effect, Mr. Liu. So what I'm saying that can make this regional election at a certain point where we can say in the absence of crocodile we can manage a lizard. Let us find a way to find a consensus, a ground of understanding, and say, all right, this is what we can do for now and how we can move forward. Because whatever we do and putting them aside, they are still going to do what they are doing to make every other effort that the government has been trying to do of any effect, of no effect. So if we don't put that into consideration, Mr. Liu, this election, equally as the municipal election, is going to be no different.
Okay, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we look at what we have to discuss as our second topic for tonight.